Today we're going to talk about an important subject while we're all at home with our music, practicing, right? This is a great opportunity to take some time to practice. And I'm going to talk about how to approach practicing. I like to practice every day, and in fact, I do practice every day. I find some time to practice every single day. I just make it one of my daily routines. I'm going to show you how it's really not so bad. It's actually kind of fun, and it's very relaxing. We talk about meditation and also just deep thinking. Well, practicing is a great way to get some work done, but also get into that meditative state of deep thinking and becoming a musician. And it's quite rewarding. Let's get into how to warm up for practicing. So I have 3 books here. I like all of these. I'm going to start from the easiest to the more difficult book. First of all, we have the Schmidt book. We talked about this in the last video, but we have some nice little 5-finger warm-ups here. He has about 200 patterns in this book. Let's talk about how to approach this. We're going to turn our keyboard on, and we're going to look at number 11. I'm on page 4, and we're going to start with a pattern. You may recall in the last video we talked about the C 5-finger warm-up. Here, he just takes a permutation and he kind of mixes it up, he blends it up and makes a nice little 4-beat 16th note pattern. And you basically have 16 16th notes, of course, because you have 4 beats, and it ends with a quarter note, okay? So we actually have 17 separate notes. Let's check this out. I'm gonna just take this up to the next position now. Now, Schmidt doesn't tell us to do this. Alois Schmidt does not ask us to do this, but he basically leaves us to our own devices to kind of figure out what we want to do with these exercises. Next position. I'm very relaxed. I'm looking out my window, and I'm enjoying the sun. I've got a good positioning here. 2 more to go, right? Last one. Now, it's real important to warm up your fingers and your wrists when you're playing the piano or any instrument. Think of it like warming up before you go to the gym, or warming before you go to gym class. Warming up. So jumping jacks, you might do a couple of stairs or steps. Or even with a jog, you might stretch a little bit. This is the same thing. We're not going to stretch our fingers, but we're going to kind of warm them up. Let's go backwards now. Number 12 goes backwards. Descends. More to go. How about a chord? Okay, so I just randomly chose number 11 and 12. No rhyme or reason. There are so many fun exercises here. Let's go back to page 20 here. You may remember the other day we spoke about scales. I want to go to a couple of other scales and let's talk about some possibilities. Now, I also spoke to the fact that I like the Schmidt book for the scales. There's a Hannon book, and I'm going to show you what those look like later. But these are just nice 2-octave scales. All 12 keys are just squeezed into just a page and a half. So let's go to the G major scale. Same pattern as the C major. Hey, let's make it a 4-octave scale, huh? They don't write it as 4 octaves, but all we have to do is continue the cross under and go for 4 octaves. I'm going to go from here to here. Okay, ready? Some of you might be interested in the 1, 4, 5, 7 chord. You can. That's nice. 4 chord, 1 chord, 5, 7. Again, it's not written here. We have to kind of be a little bit creative there to find that. Hey, let's do something more fun with the G major scale. Again, this is not written in, but he does give us the finger pattern, so we can kind of do our own thing. Check this out. Why don't we split it in the middle and go this way? Let's try. Wow, really kind of splitting my hand. Oh, I'm going to go up. Kind of like a train, switching tracks. You want to do an arpeggio at the end? That's kind of fun too. I do those a lot in church jobs or other types of engagements that I play. Let's try one more scale. Let's try a D major 2-octave scale. That's the 3rd scale in. By the way, how many sharps are in the key of D major? Anybody know? We have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. I'm going to talk in another video about how to figure out key signatures and how to memorize those. I used to have a difficult time knowing how many sharps are in each key, or if somebody would tell me 3 sharps, I would really have to think about it. But now I know it's A major. Anyway, let's go back to D major. 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Here we go. Oops, I went for 3 octaves. Actually, I purposely made that mistake. Did you realize if you start above middle C, you can't go for more than 3 octaves? And I think it's best to either do 2 octaves or 4 octaves. So actually, let's bring her down an octave, and then we're going to go for 4 octaves. Here we go. So as long as your right hand thumb is on middle C or below, you cannot do a 4-octave scale. So you'd have to do it from middle C and below. Anyway, and I did promise you a 2-octave scale. Let's get to that one. So now I can go back up to above middle C. Let's make them a 2-octave scale. Okay, let's move along to another book. Really, I spend a lot of time on that Schmidt book. Okay, we have the Hannon book. I'm sure many of you have seen this. This has been around for over 100 years. The Virtuoso Pianist. Let's look at an exercise. A very familiar exercise is number 1. Now, I think he has about 60 exercises, right? Is this the one? 60 exercises. Let's start with number 1. And I like this because it's continuous. Now, you might remember the Schmidt exercises had this kind of pattern where... and then you go to the next position. This is continuous. Let's check this out. Again, this is exercise number 1. Okay, we're only halfway through, okay? Keeping my fingers curved. I'm trying to do the best I can. Here we go. Ooh, a little turnaround, right? That's kind of fun. I'm really loosening up here. My fingers are feeling great. All right. Okay, there's the end. No chord, but I always like to put a chord at the end. Those of you that are familiar with my teaching method, you know that I always ask for a chord even though it's not written in. If you really want to challenge yourself, some of the more advanced students can go through the circle of fifths, right? Circle of fifths are when you go up a fifth from the previous key. And you are now a fifth up. We would be now in the key of G. How many sharps in the key of G? 1 sharp, F sharp. Okay, so we're going to try this in the key of G. We're going to transpose it ourselves. Really good idea to transpose things. Oops, I missed one. That's okay. My fourth finger wasn't used to that F sharp. I'm going to turn it around here. I just wanted to do 1 octave. Again, you can kind of have fun with these. An extra octave there on that chord. Did you just notice that? Instead of just a triad, I kept the triad, but I actually doubled the octave. Kind of a nice rich chord. Okay, let's look at scales for a second. I just wanted to show you all, actually this is kind of an old book, but here you have 4 octave scales. Yeah, it's correctly written, but it's a little intimidating, right? And this is nice to have it in front of you, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. I, again, recommend that Aloy Schmidt book, Preparatory Exercises, but certainly you can get this Virtuoso Pianist. These are all available at Musical Beginnings or on Amazon. I would recommend Amazon right now because of everything is closed. Okay, so here is another book. This is the Brahms 51 Exercises. Let me show you one more. Some of my more advanced colleagues, I have some colleagues, highly revered colleagues that play from this book, the Czerny 40 daily exercises, and here's the Brahms 51 exercises. These are both very advanced. I would say that Czerny is even more advanced, but the Brahms is beautifully written. Let's take one. I started with 16, kind of in the middle of the book. A friend of mine showed me this, where you hold a finger down, and then you go through. I actually personally use this one when I'm warming up at a concert, sometimes at a service, a religious service. I might warm up with this. It's great to warm up. Seems kind of impossible, but at first it's really fun. I'm going to start with the holding that 4th finger down. Here we go. That's fun. You know, you can also bring it up an octave. You can go faster if you want. Really loosening up now. Actually, I don't want to move my arms too much. Okay. The next one's kind of fun too, number 17, where you have this kind of triplet trill in the right hand. I got to work on that transition. So those of you advanced teachers and players that are watching that, and you notice that I made a little mistake in there, and I need to kind of like work that out. So I'll work that out slower later on. For now, I want to move on to practicing. These are great warm-ups. You don't have to spend so much time warming up, but I wanted to show you 3 great options that are in 3 different levels. Okay, let's move on to practicing. I will see you in a bit.